Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by Althea Group Holdings. I'm Mel Tempera from NWR Communications. Althea Group Holdings is listed on the ASX under AGH. It's an exciting time for AGH, and today Managing Director and CEO Josh Fegan will talk through how they plan to capitalise on the fast-growing THC beverage market. We will then have time for Q&A. So there's a chat function at the bottom of your screen. Any questions you have as we go along, please pop them in there and we'll get through as many as we can. I'm going to now hand over to Josh and he'll run through the presentation. Thanks, Josh.
Great, thanks, Mel. And good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending our investor webinar. Let's begin with AGH's transformation. We are nearing the end of the process to divest our pharmaceutical assets and are fully committed to Peak Processing Solutions, who are a leading producer of THC beverages and a wholly owned subsidiary of AGH since the year 2019. This marks a deliberate and strategic shift. AGH is now a focused, high-growth FMCG business in a market with North American momentum. It is worth noting it has taken some time for AGH to establish its identity, our purpose, and that purpose is THC Beverages. An important notice and disclaimer. This is a standard disclaimer. Today's presentation includes forward-looking statements and unaudited financial information. It is general in nature and not intended as financial advice. Fast-moving consumer goods, aka FMCG. This is no longer a cannabis story. It's a consumer goods story. Peak operates as a specialist developer and contract manufacturer of THC-infused beverages designed for fast-moving retail environments like bottle shops and convenience stores. Our mission is clear: to develop and produce the highest quality THC beverages at scale on behalf of our brand partners. It's a fundamentally sound business model and one that's perfectly aligned with evolving consumer preferences and the growing demand for alcohol alternatives. THC beverages are redefining leisure. Let me explain what THC beverages are. Excuse me. They contain tetrahydrocannabinol, the intoxicating compound found in cannabis, and are designed to offer a relaxing, social alcohol-like experience. But unlike alcohol, they come with no hangover, fewer calories, and less toxicity. These drinks promote calmness rather than aggression, offer precise and labeled dosing, and appeal to both non-drinkers and health-conscious consumers. They're a modern answer to social drinking, wellness-orientated, and customizable. Importantly, this positions us to reach an entirely new consumer base, alcohol drinkers. That's a USD $250 billion plus market in the US alone. Our opportunity is no longer just cannabis. It's mainstream beverage consumption. That slide, if people get a chance to read later, just talks about some of the benefits of THC beverages over alcohol. North American market opportunity. We're operating in the world's most exciting emerging consumer category. THC beverages are forecast to reach 31 billion Australian dollars in North America alone by 2028, with 29 billion of that coming from the US. THC beverages are catching on fast. In Canada, only 4% of cannabis users had tried a beverage in 2018. That number jumps to 21% in 2024. These products are attracting new, non-smoking consumers and are increasingly used in place of alcohol. Trusted by leading THC beverage brands. Peak is the trusted engine behind the leading brands in Canada. We produce more than 70% of THC beverage brands in the market. That speaks to our reputation for compliance, consistency, and scalability. Brands choose us because they know we deliver, not just product, but reliability. Some of the brands on that page, on that slide, are the highest selling products in Canada and are obviously expanding into the US as well, which is quite exciting. Key financial results, Peak Canada. Let's look at the numbers. In the first half of financial year 25, Peak Canada recorded $8.23 million in revenue. That's a 58% increase year over year. Our gross margin was 32%, a strong result due to the specialized nature of our contract manufacturing. Those margins are expected to hold and, in all likelihood, improve. These numbers are a clean look at the underlying Canadian business. They exclude Althea pharmaceutical sales and any of our US startup costs. It's our core business. It becomes our most mature business, and it's growing nicely. Supply and demand is increasing. Peak Canada operates a 40,000 square foot THC beverage production facility in Windsor, Ontario, and Peak Canada is capable of producing up to 12 million units annually. We have room to grow, and THC beverages demand is rising. Our focus is filling that capacity efficiently and scaling with demand. Just like any other manufacturing organization, the goal is to get to 100% utilization of said capacity. That means we would get to a point where we're bursting at the seams and look to increase capacity even further, and that would be a really good place to be. So the indicator that looks like a dashboard speedometer is something that we're going to do consistently from here on to bring shareholders and investors along for the ride. Basically, as the segment grows, so as the consumption base for THC beverages in Canada increases, we'll be looking for that needle to obviously get higher and higher as we approach that maximum capacity. The peak advantage. Here's why we're winning. Proprietary emulsion technology, deep regulatory expertise, and high quality manufacturing. These are serious barriers to entry. Not anyone can just jump in and do THC beverage manufacturing. You need the compliance, you need the technical know-how, and you need the trust. We also have strong partnerships with major alcohol players, including Boston Beer Company, adding credibility and a network effect. Touching on that proprietary technology, our patent-pending emulsion Envision is exclusive to Peak Processing Solutions and enables clear, fast-acting, and consistent THC drinks. It's fully integrated into our system, powering multiple product formats, from seltzers and sodas to mocktails and spirits. It's what makes our production scalable and our products superior. In other words, it's our secret sauce. Peak North America. While we dominate in Canada, more than 70% of all brands in market are made by Peak. In January 2025, we officially entered the US market. We've already shipped over 550,000 units across multiple states. Our Coca-Cola style model, central IP with localized production, lets us expand quickly and without owning factories. And because we manufacture domestically in both Canada and the US, we avoid cross-border tariffs. For anyone that's familiar with the Coca-Cola system, which is a thing called 7X, essentially Coca-Cola are responsible for producing their syrup, their secret formula, at a centralized location. From there, that recipe, those ingredients, that goes out to co-packers all over the country, all over the world. And those co-packers are certified by Coca-Cola to actually package a finished product. That's very similar to what Peak's doing in the US. We call it the Peak Processing System. And Envision, the cannabis ingredient, not to mention one of our 250 plus proprietary formulations, the important ingredient in that system. The emulsion itself in the US is manufactured at our laboratory in Florida. And we already have one co-packer in Texas and aim to open more production sites to provide us with unrivaled scale as this year progresses. Investment summary. So where are we today? We've grown Canadian revenue 58% year over year. US commercial production is now live. Our pharmaceutical exit is nearly complete, and we've raised $6 million since December to fund growth, and our cost efficiency measures are progressing well. We are laser focused on achieving profitability and building shareholder value. Corporate snapshot. We've built a strong board with deep experience in finance, restructuring, and governance. We have a tight capital structure, a more than modest market cap, and good alignment across our top shareholders. The foundation is solid, and the strategy is crystal clear. That concludes the formal presentation. I would welcome any questions. Mel will field those right now, but if anyone wants to contact me directly, or the investor relations team following the webinar, please feel free to do so. We're looking to build relationships with long-term investors who share our vision. Over to you, Mel.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, we do have questions coming through. I will get through as many as possible. We have a question about the medicinal cannabis side of the business. So you were a front runner. Was there something that went wrong with this division? Yeah, I suppose that, that you were a foundation of setting the scene. Is there any more that you can shed light on here?
Yeah, I think that's it's a tale of two stories because we certainly were a trailblazer in the medical cannabis field. Our approach was very pharmaceutical in nature. So we moved like a pharma company, we acted like a pharma company. We were all about genuine patients, and seeing the untapped potential in cannabis as a bona fide treatment for some pretty serious ailments and conditions. And in the early years, pretty much leading into the pandemic, we did very, very well. I think we were the second brand to launch in Australia with Althea. Our strategy was tight. Of course, revenue was expensive, but you've got to spend money to make money. It was a completely new area, of drugs. So it took a lot of, sales and marketing prowess to build out a strong doctor network and patient network. So things were going fine probably up until the pandemic. What that meant was genuine patients were no longer getting in front of their GPs, their primary care doctors, and/or specialists because of lockdowns and the like. Drug companies certainly weren't able to get in front of doctors either to present their medications. And that was when the emergence of cannabis clinics started to happen, and obviously telehealth. So it really flipped our business model on its head. And unfortunately, as much as we tried to keep penetrating that, genuinely believing that we had the best product in the market in the Althea soft gel capsules, which I still believe is true to this day, the market simply went the other way. And what I mean by that is, I've referred to it previously as the California model, where essentially these cannabis clinics become a destination known to people that might be looking to move from the illicit cannabis market to the legal market. And I think, a lot of people have leveraged that framework to commercialize the product to a point where it's become a commodity. In the first probably 12 months, 24 months of Althea's existence back in 2018, there was maybe 10, 11, 12 brands tops, maybe 100 products in the market. Certainly no dried flower because we were told convincingly by the TGA that that wasn't a possibility. There had to be very much pharmaceutical in preparation. Today, there are literally hundreds of brands and thousands of products. So it just got to a point where it wasn't a sustainable business for us when we had such bigger fish to fry. Peak processing solutions we knew was going to take time to incubate. THC beverages was something that wasn't available in the black market. You didn't have drug dealers down the street making THC beverages in their basement or anything like that under lights. It's very specialized. But we knew that would crack open a new consumer, not just a legacy cannabis consumer. So it was very much a tomorrow product. Fortunately for us, tomorrow is now today. So we're seeing consumption levels in Canada like they've never been before. We now have this amazing opportunity in the largest consumer market in the world, where these products can be sold and distributed nationally in liquor stores, billboard advertising, you name it. So yes, we had to go through that to get to this. But the thing about Peak is it's got high barriers to entry for those reasons that I just spoke about. So I don't expect it to get uber intensive in terms of competition. I certainly don't think it'll be a race to the bottom, the way that medical cannabis has played out to be. So in my opinion, it was a smart investment at the time, and we're more than happy to dedicate each and every day to it.
Just on that, in terms of the competitive landscape, is there anybody else doing contract manufacturing?
No, in Canada, it's a pretty small field. So to my knowledge, there's three, maybe four contract manufacturers for THC beverages. That's not because it's a small market, it's because, it's a very difficult thing to do. And certainly quite expensive, especially in Canada, where it's governed by Health Canada, which is the equivalent of the TGA, Therapeutic Goods Administration. Most of those other producers only focus on their own brands. That's the reason why, Peak has such strong partnerships because we're independent. We want brand partners like Boston Beer Company, Collective Project, Senorita that's gone on to sell for 20 or $30 million in the US. We want those guys to focus on what they do best, which is brand building, sales and marketing. It's our job to develop and produce at a mass scale the best quality beverage for them to go away and do what they do.
Sounds good. Very clever. Patents, they're still pending. When will they look to be approved?
It'll take some time. We just went through our second or third review. It's very complicated. I won't profess to be a chemist. We have a very good PhD, a gentleman called Justin Binder, on salary that looks after this sort of stuff. But it is progressing. We have a good law firm pushing it through as well. So we do hope that that's something that's on the near-term horizon.
A few questions about the alcohol versus THC, and I suppose to compare the two of them. Is that something that is easy to do? Is there, I suppose, with alcohol, they will say this is 1.5 standard drinks. Is there a similar sort of measurement, and do you promote that on the cans?
Yeah, the easiest way for me to explain it is potency. So in alcohol, you have ABV. So a beer might be 4 to 5%, spirits might be 16, 17, 18%, that type of thing. And that's the potency, that's the amount of alcohol within a container that goes into your system. And obviously, lower the alcohol, the less intoxicated you get, the higher the alcohol, the more you will by volume. That's pretty akin to THC beverages, where THC has a milligram volume to it. So most beverages being sold at the moment have between 5 and 10 milligrams of THC. You won't really see anything higher than 10 milligrams. For me, I would say that one 5 milligram THC beverage is the equivalent of 1.5 to 2 beers, but everyone's different.
Yeah, of course. So, do you ever see the Australian landscape changing with THC beverages being available here, or is that a long way off?
No, I do actually. Part of what's happening over in the medical cannabis space, I think is going to lead to the legalization of cannabis at a federal level. I mean, people are accessing it, in that regard anyway, but the government's not making any money, not collecting GST, not collecting any taxes. So I think they will look to economize it at some point. And of course, the Cannabis Party did quite well in the most recent election. So I can see a world where THC beverages and hopefully our products and our big brand partners will come to town when that day is open and available to us. Of course, with our peak processing system, which is very similar to the Coca-Cola system, we could enter the market in no time. So yeah, fingers crossed. It's something that we see, at least in the next couple of years.
Still stigma attached in Australia to cannabis. Is that quite different over in Canada and the US?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's an everyday product now. But, the thing with THC beverages is, yeah, early doors, there's going to be those legacy cannabis people that are like, oh, I can get my THC in a can. It's so easy to go buy it off the shelf. It's, very affordable. In the US, a four-pack of, our mellow drinks is like $15. So yeah, you're going to see that. That first wave of consumer is definitely going to be more akin to THC as an ingredient. But the world really opens up for us because, and I was in a Total Wine just yesterday, and the lady next to me was buying a THC beverage. So I spoke to her, and she's one of the people that after a long day will go through basically a bottle of wine. Very stressed and that sort of stuff. And she was just looking for a more healthier alternative. And when these products are on the shelf next to craft beers and next to wine, that's the consumer that it's going to get to. It will penetrate that base. And alcohol in the US, just out of home alcohol. Sorry, just in-home alcohol, so where you buy it from a Dan Murphy's equivalent, take home with you, is a $260 billion industry. And people are more and more against alcohol. They're looking for healthier alternatives because of their lifestyle these days. And we think that THC is a perfect substitute for that.
Just on that, the peak Canada, the capacity that the odometer picture, that's peak Canada. What's the opportunity? How big is that opportunity in the United States?
Yeah, I mean, look, our answer to the customers that we're talking to at the moment, when they say, "What's your capacity?" we'll say more than you'll ever need. And that's true, just because of the system that we've figured out. We intend to have multiple production sites across the US strategically located to provide our customers with the best economies of scale. Cans are quite expensive to move by road. And this is about providing good customer service. If we can produce closer to drop shippers and to distributors that our brand partners are using, that saves them money, and they're more than likely to, stay with us for a long time, and we'll protect our margins and things like that way. So there's quite a few advantages with the peak processing system and how we're actually rolling out in the US, but it's all built off that production of our emulsion in Florida.
Having a look. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunity, and I'm sure you are focused on Canada and US, but are there other markets outside of North America and Canada that you can see moving into in the future, like Europe, etc.?
Look, the US is the biggest consumer market on the planet. If we can pick up healthy market share in that marketplace, I think we're all going to be very, very happy. But is there a possibility for international expansion? Absolutely. Germany would probably be the next country. It's already experimenting with recreational cannabis. It's promising a commercialized recreational cannabis model that they're talking about trialing. We do have people that are interested in launching beverages. If that's the case, it is quite a big market. Probably leads to the continent of Europe opening up for cannabis as well. But same thing, like the big wins here is if this can be sold as a fast-moving consumer good in retail locations, and that could well be possible in Germany as the next protocol.
Well, that leads me to another question. Obviously available in retail. Are the products available on premise? Are they being served in restaurants and bars?
That's a great question. Um, Look, when it comes to hospitality and things like that, we are developing some pretty exciting things. probably shouldn't put it out there, but let's say we're going to have the ability to do bottled spirits very soon, or the equivalent of, and also kegs. So it definitely is a segment of the market that will be, very exciting, and that's also on top of everything that I've just spoken about. We believe ready to drinks are the most convenient and fast and approachable way. But yes, definitely bars and restaurants will get into THC as an alternative to alcohol as well in time. And we want to be right at the forefront of that innovation, the way that we were with canned beverages.
Um, Somebody's asked about the chance of a competition startup with some serious backing. Is that is that of concern, or as you said, I suppose it's going to take a long time for somebody to get to where you are, right?
You just can't buy time. We've been at this for 5, 6 years. Research and development, commercialization, over 13 million cans sold, 250 formulations with more than 12 months of stability data. Seltzers, sodas, waters, juices, bottles, cans. It's a lot. And to have your own patent pending emulsion and obviously pretty tight knit SOPs and things, it would sort of not be impossible, but big barriers to entry exist. Of course, with anything, you're going to see, early entrants that are just slapping things together and that are just going for it. But quality always comes to the top. Um, I definitely 100% believe this is not going to go the way that medical cannabis did because it can't. It's just way too hard to make THC beverages. It's not like growing and selling flour. It's easy.
Uh, in terms of advertising, you did say that billboards and advertising is allowed, but is that the same in Canada and in the US, Josh, or is it different regulations across different? Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
expand on that a little bit?
different regulations, and you'll notice that in our North American map about the value predicted of the market by 2028. If things remain as restrictive as they are in Canada, that's where we're going to get. However, if regulations lax, which is definitely possible and sooner rather than later, that opportunity is only going to increase as well. And the reason is Health Canada have started pretty tight around, what you can and can't do with things like advertising and promotion. But again, they learn as well. They're seeing that no one's getting hurt by these. Drink driving, alcohol fuel violence is down in Canada. It's more and more accepted. There's talk about our drinks being available in some pilot LCBO stores, which are the province-run liquor stores. So that would be super exciting, but all upside.
Yeah, fantastic. Um, and is there growth opportunity in terms of profit margins?
Yeah, yeah. Revenue is really important, of course, and we want to be growing the revenue in both territories at a really solid rate of knots. But part of contract manufacturing is optimization of your supply chain. So as we grow and as we reinvest more and more money into the operation, we really do think we can open up those margins even wider. It's kind of work smarter, not harder.
Okay, I think that we're probably due to wrap up now. Um, One question, what should investors be most excited about if we haven't already summarized it?
Well, it's an exciting time because we're coming into spring and summer in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm in Florida right now, and everyone's starting to get out and about and drinks. That's when it happens. That's the seasonality. So we're looking for strong performance in our more mature territory, being Canada. But yeah, I think what's happening, what's transpiring in the US is super exciting as well. And as the time progresses, we're going to look forward to for telling that story too.
Yes, thank you so much for today, Josh. I know we've spoken about this is a new chapter for Althea Group Holdings, and we will look to do this on a more regular basis and make sure that we're keeping all the investors and the shareholders up to date as things evolve. And there's so much to look forward to. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Mel, and thanks for having me. And they won't be able to catch up with us this time. It's all good.
Well done. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.